Discover 10 real reasons why your marriage is falling apart. When a couple decides to get married, they are all hoping for their own happy life together. Never would a couple expect a marriage that leads to divorce. If we knew that this union would end in divorce, would we even bother to spend money, invest in love and even time? Though sometimes, the sad reality of life happens and you find that your marriage is falling apart. When does a relationship begin to fail? What are the top reasons why relationships fail, and can we do something about it? Is my marriage falling apart? Do you feel that your marriage is falling apart? Have you been noticing drastic changes from what used to be a happy and understanding marriage? Have you begun asking yourself the causes of relationship failure and if there is a way to save it? If you have been thinking about these things, then there is a chance that you are feeling why relationships are falling apart, and it has started. According to the American Psychological Association, about 40 to 50% of marriages in the United States alone end up in divorce. Nobody wants this to happen, and even for some, knowing that their marriage is falling apart can cause a feeling of denial and hurt. There can be many reasons why relationships fail nowadays. That is why it's important to be aware. In that way, you can still do something about it. It's your marriage, and it's just right that you do your best to fight for it. Top reasons why relationships fail. How can you tell whether your marriage is experiencing a relationship breakdown? The good thing here is that the reasons why relationships fail have signs, and if you are aware, then you can act on it. Here are 10 reasons relationships fail. 1. You're not growing together. You're not growing together. That overall feeling that you're not growing with your spouse. Many years have passed, yet you're still in the same situation as you were before, with no improvements, no goals, and no focus. Your marriage is falling apart when you get the realization that you are not where you want to be. 2. You're focusing on the used to phrases. Why do relationships fail? It is when you focus on the negative instead of the positive side of your marriage. When you come to the point where you always notice how your spouse used to be like this, and like that. When all you get is disappointments after disappointments. What happens to your present situation? 3. You are no longer connected. You are no longer connected. You may start feeling that your marriage is falling apart once you don't feel that connection any longer. It's one of the most common reasons why you feel that the person you married is a total stranger. Do you notice relationships falling apart because people change? 4. One-sided marriage. A one-sided marriage can be draining. This is one of the most common reasons why relationship end. In fact, as no one wants to be in a one-sided relationship. It's when you're the only person who thinks for the relationship, who makes constant efforts, and the one who seems to care about your future together. 5. You honestly don't care anymore. One of the top reasons why relationships fail is when you just feel that you no longer care about your spouse anymore. It's not that you're in love with someone else or you hate the person, it's either you've been feeling fed up or you just fell out of love. 6. No more intimacy. Intimacy is very important in one's relationship. From physical intimacy to psychological and emotional intimacy, if a relationship is lacking this, then it means your marriage is falling apart. Just like a plant, it needs constant nurturing, and intimacies at many levels are the factors that strengthen any relationship. 7. You always have misunderstandings. You always have misunderstandings. It makes you so tired, and every time you try to talk with each other, you end up having misunderstandings. Is this one of the reasons to end a relationship? Is it still worth fighting for? 8. A heavy feeling or negative vibes. You go home and you don't feel happy. Even to the extent of seeing your spouse gives you that heavy and negative feeling. In fact, everyone starts wondering why you always seem hot-tempered. It's because you are no longer excited to go home. This is one of the things that inevitably leads to the realization that your marriage is falling apart. 9. You are no longer happy. You are no longer happy. One of the final things that you should realize why do relationships end is when you no longer feel happy. The spark is gone, the urge to be with your spouse is no longer there, and most of all, you don't see growing old with the person anymore. 10. Maybe it is time to let go. One of the hardest decisions to make when you've realized that you're no longer happy is if it's really the time to let go. You begin to ask yourself if it's still worth it to fight for your marriage or to talk to your spouse about going to therapy. Everything about the situation will make you think about getting a divorce, but is it really the best decision to make? Marriage doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, many couples have dealt with the feeling that their marriage is falling apart but were able to do something about it. You both need to want to change your current status and your current relationship. You both need to work on it together. The truth is, the real reason why your marriage is falling apart now is that you're not willing to work on it. The real reason why you are in this situation is that you are focusing on what is wrong instead of how you can make it right. So, if you want to change and still work on this marriage, then it's time to focus on how you can make your relationship work. Please give a thumbs up if you like the video. Thanks a lot.